skateboarder and part of the hit series Jackass. He rose to international fame, even becoming the first pro skater to be sponsored by Gatorade. However, at the height of his success, he was also battling a heroin addiction that lasted 21 years. He is sharing his story in a new book, Dream Seller, and Dream Seller Part 2 and Part 3. He's here now with us to explain more about this. And Brandon, I remember you from MTV. I remember you from the show Jackass and Bam Margera. You guys were always together on the Sirius satellite radio. I guess the one thing I didn't realize when you were initially starting out, kind of coming on the scene, was this battle with heroin. But it kind of been a part of your life since you were 14 years old.
Yeah, you know, I kind of came from a family where my father never held a job a day in his life. He taught me one thing, if and when I go to prison, how to conduct myself. Ultimately, he died as a direct result of the disease of addiction. So I believe I was genetically predisposed. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But the reality is the disease of addiction does not discriminate. From Yale or jail, the White House or the outhouse, the results are all the same. 1 out of 5 people will be affected. Today in the nation, 179 people will die as a direct result of an opioid overdose. That's worse than Vietnam.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is these deaths are all preventable. My mother's a nuclear physicist on the board of Mercy Hospital. My brother's an attorney here in the White House who practices pensions and benefits. First skateboarder to be endorsed by Gatorade.
Yeah, so all the success.
Yeah, traveling around with Tony Hawk, private tour that flew with, New York Times, top 10 selling author, been in movies that break box office records. In theory, on paper, a very successful individual. It did things in life people equate to success or happiness, something we dream of doing. In reality, at 35 years old, I walked into my 13th inpatient treatment center. My mother bought me a plot. People had taken life insurance policies out on me. I just woke up from being on life support for 7 days. My worldly possessions consisted of 8 scarves, 2 jackets, 3 socks, 1 stick of deodorant fit to a bag, doubles a pillow, and 4 cigarette butts. And my mother had nothing left to give. She went to God with one prayer. That prayer consisted of, God, please cure him, kill him, or kill me. I can't take it anymore.
Wow.
And now today I sit before you with 3 years of continuous sobriety.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, that's an amazing story. And you said that, you know, you're lucky to be alive at this point, considering all that you've been through. The one thing I noticed when I was reading up on you is that friends, people that you knew, Bam even said, at this point, he's just killing himself.
Yeah.
And I think that for people who are watching, you know, when they're seeing people who are addicted to opioids or heroin or whatever the drug may be, it is hard to watch that. But what advice would you give to those people?
Well, it's honestly, it sucks to say, but it's a case-by-case situation. The reality is how I go about it. I work in the treatment industry field. I'm great at playing devil's advocate because what I've learned is my defects have become my biggest assets with the slightest shift of perception. I have 2 phones and they ring non-stop, and the calls always go like this: Novak, if you can get clean, there's no reason why I can't. Can you help me? So I understand why they choose to get high over to get help. But the reality is the issue will be addressed one day, and it's addressed in 2 different ways. God willing, you address the issue, you go to treatment, get your life together, things you have no idea that exist in life, or God forbid the issue addresses you and I get a phone call from your family member saying thanks for trying to help, but he didn't make it. And I get those phone calls a lot of time. If there's no one person in the world that can open up their planner or calendar and says, you know what, July's a great month to go to treatment. No one wants to go to treatment, no one looks forward to going to treatment, but the issue will be addressed, you know? And if not, you're just prolonging the inevitable. If I could have did it on my own, I would not have ended up in 13 inpatient treatment centers. I would not be here talking to you. What I had learned is my very best thinking had continuously got myself into situations that I did not like to be in. And finally what happened is I knew it didn't have to be that way provided I got out of my own way. The common denominator of my problems was me. You know? And
and once you set your mind to a new path.
So now I just kind of aid and assist, and I always give my personal phone number out for anybody that's struggling that wants to call me, and we can figure this thing out together. And if you want to call me, my phone number is 610-546-2608. That's my personal cell phone number. Call me.
You just gave your personal cell phone number out on live TV, so you are passionate about this.
Because I was that guy that was deemed unhelpable or unfixable. My mother had bought me a plot. People had taken life insurance policies out on me. She went to God and said, God, please cure him, kill him, or kill me. I can't take it anymore. And now I have 3 years of continuous sobriety. I work in the drug and alcohol treatment field for a premier national treatment center, Banyan Treatment Center. We have locations in Philadelphia, Chicago, Boston, and Florida. And what I've learned is the disease of addiction is not a death sentence. And your history does not have to dictate your future. As long as you're breathing, it's never too late.
I want to shake your hand, sir. That
Thank
is
you so
very
much.
inspiring. Okay, let's talk about the book, and you
Yeah.
have part 2 coming out soon.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is kind of a chronicle of your life and experience.
Yeah,
with-
it's all autobiographies. They kind of pick up where the last one left off. But the project that I'm really passionate about, I'm really excited to talk about, is I have the first ever addiction graphic novel coming out within the month.
Wow.
And this is going to be a game changer, because what we're trying to do is, unfortunately, they're talking about lift the stigma, how do we lift the stigma? The stigma is being lifted because the death toll is rising.
Right.
You know what I mean? So fortunately, unfortunately, depending upon one's perception, that's what's happening,
Yeah.
and it's a good thing or a bad thing. But so we don't have to really worry about lifting the stigma. But now this addiction graphic novel, it's a topic that's not so much shunned anymore.
Right. Your phone number one more time before we go.
610-546-2608.
If you need help, Brandon said he's here to help you.
Please call me, man.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks a
I appreciate
lot.
your time. Thank you for being so open.